Today I have a Matchbox 1956 Ford F-100 stepside pickup truck. This thing looks really cool, but it has some issues with it that I really don't like. My main complaint about this truck is that the bed floor is a plastic insert that's not the same color as the body. I don't know why they did this, but I really don't like it. It just gets me. Also, the paint hasn't really gotten up under this lip at the top of the bed. There's some overspray marks and it doesn't really look that good. Also, the headlights and taillights aren't painted in, which some Matchbox have, some don't, but this one doesn't, and that's going to be a pretty easy fix. First, I drill out the two rivets at either end of the truck that hold the body on the frame. Then I can go back to the studio and very carefully, using a small screwdriver so I don't damage the plastic grill, pry the body off the frame. So there's actually quite a lot going on in this little truck. First, I've got this nice turquoise windscreen and rear windscreen. No windows. Then this interior piece, which has the dashboard, the steering wheel, the seat, and the bed floor. Then I've got this little grille piece with the headlights cast into it. And then, of course, our rolling frame. So there's a lot that goes into this little model, and they're pretty much all going to need a little bit of work. So first, what I'm going to do is use this silver enamel paint to paint in the bumpers and the grille. For this, I'm going to be using a small paintbrush. The pieces I'm painting are small enough that brush strokes aren't going to be a problem. Next, I'm going to tape the grille to the floor of the studio. This will allow it to stay upright while I paint it. I'll leave it like this until it's dry to avoid scuffing the paint. Also, I took a very tiny paintbrush and painted in the headlights white. While the grille is drying and I have the silver paint out anyway, I'm going to take a minute and paint in the dashboard and steering wheel silver. I go over some of the areas several times to make sure I've got all the brush strokes and runs out of the paint. Next, I go outside to use some paint stripper on the cast body. They tend to use some pretty good paint on these Matchbox cars, and the paint stripper very often can't get it all off. So I use a brass brush to scrub all the paint residue off the body. Next, I'm using a rattle can with royal blue enamel paint to repaint the body. If you put the stuff on too thin, it'll be spotty, and if you put it on too thick, obviously it'll run, so you have to be careful. While I was out there, I masked off half this interior piece so I could paint the bed and the inner fender wells the same color as the body. The unpainted and obviously plastic bed floor was the thing that bugged me the most about this model when I started, so I think this is going to make a big difference. And now for the moment of truth. It's time to start putting all the little pieces back together, being very careful not to damage the fresh paint or break any of the parts. This enamel paint is good stuff, but it does take a long time to dry. It's been 24 hours since I painted the body and the bed floor, and the paint is dry, but it has not cured. This means that I won't leave any fingerprints in it, but it's still pretty easy to damage the finish, so I'm being very careful. The paint is still just sticky enough so that it will hold the model together fine, and I don't need to drill and tap the rivet post. However, I wouldn't drill and tap the rivet post anyway. I would just use a dot of glue if it wouldn't hold together. Next, I'm going to take a toothpick dipped in red paint and paint in these little tail lights. This was another thing that wasn't done on the original model, so I think this is going to improve the look a lot. And now, finally, here's the truck all done. You'll recall how cheap looking this truck was when we started. The headlights and taillights aren't painted in, and this gray plastic doesn't look anything like chrome. Now we have nice silver running boards, bumpers, headlights, and taillights. Not to mention a perfectly color-matched bed floor. Ugh. You'll notice that I didn't paint in the hood latches, which were silver on the original model. I didn't really have the tools to make this look good, but I think it's a small price to pay for all the other improvements we made. Here you can kind of see into the silver dashboard and steering wheel and get a look at that running board. Feel free to let me know what you think and leave any questions you have, and thanks for watching.